Welcome into PrepAquatics.com. I am Skylar King. As always, you can email me, Skylar@PrepAquatics.com. Invite me on Twitter, @SkylarPrep. Looking back on some pretty big swims and talking a little bit about are we missing some of the state's biggest performers here early in the season and hoping that it's not permanent. Outside of the meets I went to, the biggest swims I saw were both out of McKenna Stone. 23.5 and 50.8 out of Stone. Just massive performances for her. Especially this early in the season. Those times aren't good enough to win state titles, but girls that go times like that during the season are the types of kids that win state titles. So we'll see if this is an aberration early in the season. Haven't got real beat up yet, or if these are the type of times she's going to maintain throughout the season. Because if she is, then Grace Cooper really needs to keep an eye on McKenna Stone throughout the course of this season more than probably anybody else. I can see somebody going better than 23.51. I'll be shocked if somebody beats 50.8. That's a huge swim for anybody. So that's gonna be an interesting thing to watch, to see if Cooper or any of these other high-powered sprinters can even come close to that 50.8 in particular. I was at, of course, the LT New Trier meet, and I sort of had a feeling the New Trier was going to win. I did not think they were going to win as big as they did, and a lot of that's because I did not know about Carly Novaline. I knew about Kaylin Gridley, that she was coming in. Obviously, both her brothers were major contributors to the New Trier Boys State Championship last year and are now swimming at Northwestern. But Carly Novaline, she didn't put on nearly as big a performance as McKenna Stone did in her meet this past week. But 158.00, it's about her fourth or fifth best event. This is a girl that as an 8th grader was 22.9 and 50.1, and she's just what New Trier needed. They needed a sprinter, and they got her. They also need a backstroker for the medley, which she can do that also, but we also saw that Audrey Richardson might be the backstroker for their medley. Casey then went butterfly, so Gridley could go breaststroke. 147.4, that's a real time that everyone, it's a measuring stick for everyone else around the state that thinks you're going to compete in the medley relay. And so I think that New Trier, it also frees up Joelle Orr to go 3 relays. Novaline to go the 50 and the 100, or to be on 3 relays, and Gridley's going to be on the medley and then the breaststroke. The downside for New Trier, and what I found out, on Friday, but on Saturday more, is that Jessie Creed moved to Florida, so she could practice more platform type diving. So that's 16 points that just left, and obviously with Lucy Hogan returning, there's no guarantee that Katie Lipsey, who was second last year, will immediately rise to that state championship perch. I can tell you that New Trier does have 2 other really good varsity divers that both could potentially score, but they're obviously going to take a hit points-wise in diving compared to last year, unless one of those girls really lights it up at the state meet. And of course that Lipsey and whoever makes the second spot both beat Hogan and everybody else in the state. But Novaline more than makes up for the loss of Creed because of what she's going to mean to the relays, and obviously because of what she can do individually. 2 fifths, which is 10 points each. That's 20 points. It's more points than what Creed was worth, and that doesn't account for her value to the relays. She anchored their 400 relay in 51.5, a relay that LT led wire to wire, and Novaline erased it just in the anchor leg. And New Trier, they they looked good start to finish. Only Callahan Dunn was able to win a race for Lyons Township. You know, if anybody was going to, it was going to be her. 2:08.2 for Dunn in the IM, and you know, then she swam a shutdown 500. Not a great time, but she was blowing everybody out, and she had to hop out from the 200 relay anyway. But I think New Trier is probably now the favorite for the second place trophy, with Gridley and Novaline and everything that they're going to bring to the table for them, both individual point wise and on relays. Obviously, I mean, I think it's going to be tough for New Trier to put 2 breaststrokers in the top 6. I would say that not just about New Trier, but about anybody. It's hard to put 2 in any event in the top 6, just because there's only 6 spots, and if you need 2 of them, you need to beat all but 4 other people statewide to make that happen. And I think if they do pull that off, if they get both Venn and Gridley in the top 6 of the breaststroke, then New Trier is having the type of meet that they're going to be really hard to beat for second place. Joelle Orr 53.7, Novaline 53.6 in the 100. Again, their 400 relay is going to be super tough. They went 3:38 without Casey Venn, who they could slide onto that relay and go even faster. I think that New Trier's got a lot of different options about how they can put their relays together. And a lot of that, I think, will depend on how strong they think the rest of the state is. 139.3 for their 200 relay, 140.2 for LT, 138, as I said, for New Trier 9, 139.2 for Lyons. And then there was another great race in the backstroke, 58.7 for Richardson from New Trier, 58.9 for Prendergast from LT, who obviously was top 6 last year. If you're LT, you just gotta shrug this one off. Dual meet doesn't really mean anything at the end of the year, but what it does mean with the additions that New Trier made, that it's made that much harder for LT and everybody else to try and secure a trophy, in particular the second place trophy, which everyone other than Rosary is gunning for at this point. And I kind of mentioned both 105.8s for Gridley and Venn. I do really like having 2 stars in one event in terms of pushing each other in practice, when you're sprinting against each other. And, that I think that breeds a good deal of success in a lot of cases. But, I still think it's going to be tough with everyone else that's returning to put 2 breaststrokers in the top 6, which is why what Novaline's going to bring and what whoever ends up being their number 2 diver behind Lipsy is going to bring, it is still going to be really important to New Trier's hopes to get that second place trophy. But their biggest question for New Trier coming into this season was their 200 free relay. And Novaline, to me, really shores that up. Even with the losses they suffered, you have Novaline and Orr. You're probably looking at, those 2 kids averaging sub 23. And even if they average 23.0, that's 46. And now all you really need is for your other 2 girls to go 24.0, and now you're 134 flat. Not that 24.0 is nothing, but what Orr and Novaline are capable of really lessens the burden on everyone else, or anyone else, I should say, that's going to be on that 200 relay with them. And that was New Trier's question mark coming in. I think it's more or less answered with the addition of Novaline. And now it's just a matter of what relays is Venn going to swim and what relays is Novaline going to swim. She could definitely be the backstroker on the medley. Seems like Richardson is good enough that doesn't make sense. But can they find a way to pull Venn off the medley? That's that's what I thought would be the advantage of having Gridley, is that then we get to go the free relays. But Richardson was the flyer last year. Now she might have to be the backstroker. And so there's still some questions about how they're going to put their medley together to maximize their overall lineup potential. But right now, it's good problems to have for New Trier. And, they beat LT by 40, which, like I said, if you're LT, you don't worry about it that much because it's not a state meet format. But if you're New Trier, you beat a team this good that beat you last year and returns a lot, damn near everybody. That, not everyone that obviously contributed in the dual meet, but everyone that contributed at the state meet level last year. And you win like this. You win all 3 relays, which again, that's the big thing to me. Like a lot of teams can win dual meets, out-depthing people, getting second and third. But when you're trying to determine who's got the state meet strength, and it's the same thing with an invitational. If you win 3 relays and a couple individual events at an invitational, but some other team is getting 4ths and 5ths and they beat you, I'm still looking at that team that won those events, saying that's the team that I'm picking to perform at the state meet, not this team who's picking up 4ths and 5ths with their depth, because those kids can't even score at the state meet. And right now, New Trier's got plenty of those top line kids, and Novoline and Gridley are a big part of that. And that's something that's mostly unique to girls' high school swimming. It's really hard to get boys that are physically mature enough to compete in a big way at the state meet right off the bat. Not that it doesn't happen. We saw one of the better performances that I can remember by a group of freshmen at last year's boys state meet. But especially for one team to have 2, that you don't see. And that's a luxury New Trier is rolling with right now. For next week, Friday, I'm going to go check out St. Charles North in a dual meet with Pure Notre Dame. Haven't seen St. Charles North yet, and so I want to get a look at them. And then on Saturday, I'll be at the Lyons Township Invitational to get my first look at Rosary. It's a relay meet, which I don't love, but it's a good opportunity to see a lot of their younger kids swimming some 50s and things that would apply to filling in relay spots with the likes of Emily Ryan, and what versatility they might have in moving their girls around even more than they already do on paper before the season. I did want to mention briefly that looking at results around the state, I did not see some of the top downstate talents competing in their team's first meets, and I don't know if that's just a fluke or if we've lost some of these girls for the season. Julia Heimstead from Normal Community, I did not see her in their first meets results, which team-wise, obviously they graduated Areola. They're not a contender anymore, but she is a big-time contender for the state championship in the butterfly. Similarly for Dunlap, I did not see the Soward sisters anywhere in their first meets results, and both of them obviously are scorers, returning scorers, and will just make the state meet much weaker if we lose them for this upcoming November. And so that's something to track, especially for those of you who have swimmers on your teams competing in the IM and the butterfly and in the 50 free in particular with those 3 girls. If they don't end up showing up, those events, there's going to be some extra spots available. As always, you can email me, SkylerPrepAquatics.com. You can follow me on Twitter, @SkylerPrep. And we'll be back next week talking yet another weekend of invitationals and top times here at PrepAquatics.com.